Ladies and gentlemen, SideStrafe back with another episode of the Strafing Run, of course designed to keep you up to date on a fairly regular basis. And before we begin today, some sad news. Unfortunately, Tom Clancy has passed away at the age of 66, which is far too young in my opinion. And, you know, many of you have heard me mention his name on several occasions. Obviously, I talk about the old Rainbow Six series and Ghost Recon in regards to video games. Now, of course, he's a well-known author. Everything stems from his books. But he did found Red Storm Entertainment, and they were responsible for some of the best tactical shooters ever created, in my opinion. And, you know, a lot of his books have become movies as well, characters and whatnot. And, yeah, it's really sad because he had created some excellent military novels, and it's a shame, you know, really. But, you know, his name lives on. I don't necessarily think it's being done justice by Ubisoft, but, you know, that's not what we're really here to talk about. So, you know, rest in peace, Mr. Tom Clancy. You've brought us many hours of entertainment, whether it's in book form or video game or film. So, moving right along, we've got some Battlefield 4 beta footage in the background today. Mostly me playing around with the vehicles, tanks, infantry fighting vehicles. Of course, you know me. I love vehicles. So, that's what I'm doing. But, you know, what do I feel about it? Well, it's pretty much Battlefield 3.5. You do have some aesthetic upgrades. A lot of the particle effects, the detail and textures and lighting, the ambience, you know, just the feel of the level within Siege of Shanghai. There's just so much going on with the debris and destruction, the smoke and everything. You really feel like you're in a war zone, and that's great. And that level, actually, I'm quite impressed. It's a beautiful level. I just can't wait till they have a better version of the game out that actually runs properly, because right now it's having some issues even with the latest drivers that are meant to support the title. So it is cool. A lot of potential there. I think I like how they've balanced out the map. We'll have to see how they do with the other 9 maps that are going to be included with the game, but it's a step in the right direction. Objectives are fairly spread out, not horrible, not the worst. So maybe they're learning. I don't know. We'll see. Got to take a look at the others again. You know, that's going to be their big 64-player map. We have to keep in mind that they have stated that a lot of their other maps are designed for smaller numbers, which is sad because they've put out a list and they've said designed for 32 or designed for 24, designed for 20, designed for 16 even. I'm like, oh, uh-oh, that's not good. They're trying to cater to everyone, I guess, which you might say, well, why is that not good? Well, I guess it's because I'm old school. I look at it like, well, is that really Battlefield? Is Battlefield about a 20-player map? No, it's not. I mean, I've been playing Battlefield since BF 1942, the demo. And if you were to load that game up, which, by the way, it's actually free on Origin if you just are curious, you can go into that game and load up all the maps in single-player mode, which is just you playing against bots. You can run your own little games and just drive around the maps. They're huge. They're enormous. In fact, they dwarf some of the maps that you can find in Battlefield 3. It's kind of a joke, but it is what it is. And you had so much more going on there. And for many years, Battlefield has always been about balancing infantry and vehicles together on enormous maps. And then Battlefield Bad Company and then Battlefield 3 start to kind of play with that in a way where it's just not working properly. You know, people complain about tanks, killing them all the time. Well, it wasn't as big of a problem when you were dealing with larger maps because there were so many places to run and hide or be engaging in combat, which is why Siege of Shanghai is pretty good, because there's a lot of areas to go. If you're an infantryman, you can run around, you can go on top of buildings, you can hide, there's plenty of cover. So the balance is actually pretty nice in that map. It's not horrible, but, you know, I'm just a little worried about the other ones because from what I'm hearing, they're smaller scale in some cases. And again, I think that EA and DICE is really hooked on trying to get customers from other titles such as Call of Duty, and even in the past they did well, obviously, as you know, developers have the tools at their disposal to check statistics. They can see what's the most played map, and maybe a year ago it was stated that Operation Metro was the #1 played map, and you don't even need their tools to find that out. You can just look at your server browser and see that that's what people are playing. 24/7 Metro, like that's what the server titles are. I'm like, are you serious? These brand new like Back to Karkin remakes come out, some of the best maps ever created in any game, and everybody's playing Metro 24/7 so that they can go down this linear corridor shoot and scoot fest and just get points. That's all it was. If you want to level up your gun, go play Operation Metro and camp the escalator. Sad. You people that run those servers are sad. That's what you spend your money on? You spend like $60, $70, $80 a month on a server or more just to run one map? Really? Must be nice to have that much money. But and that's what makes me think that if I'm ever gonna enjoy Battlefield 4 because I want to enjoy it, I'm gonna have to rent my own server. And I'm gonna have to run my maps, the maps that I want, the big maps, the cool maps, you know. Well, okay, me saying cool maps, that's just my opinion. If you like the small scale maps, whatever. I'm not gonna hate on you, unless you're just gonna run one map 24/7. That's just ludicrous. But I think I'm gonna have to run a server, really password protect it and have it be a community server. Me and my friends and my community all together. Playing with like-minded individuals. We swap out the password every week, and I name the new password in a video, and like a strafing run. Okay, this week's password is this. If you want to log in, you got to watch the video. Simple as that. Because, you know, that way it keeps out the riffraff, mostly. I'm sure people will get in, but I think that way you can kind of have a decent community. Controlled environment. Hardcore mode only. Good maps, nice rules, longer respawn times, try to make it a little bit more intense, you know, things like that. Go through some different ideas, but I feel that the same thing that happened to 3 is going to happen to 4. You're going to run into servers that they might play the new expansions for a little bit, then it's just going to be close quarters 24/7 and Operation Metro style maps. And from what I heard, they might even remake some maps, and let's face it, if Metro was popular, they might remake that, and we just might see that all over again. But, you know, they're going to go where the money is. That's the way EA rolls. You know, I don't know how much control DICE has over what they do, but pretty sure EA has a big hand in a lot of the changes that we've seen. So I don't necessarily think that Battlefield is deserving of the name anymore, but Siege of Shanghai, there's some potential with from what I'm seeing. I just think that I'll have the same typical complaints, the stupid lock-on mechanics and all the weird upgrades. And right now things are kind of balanced because everybody's on an even footing. And that's what, you know, that's what's sad. Like, pay attention to a beta or pay attention to a game the first few days that it's out where everybody has the same weapons. And that's probably the most fun you're ever going to have in Battlefield or any game that features unlocks the first week, because everybody is equal. Everybody has the same unlocks. Everybody goes in and it's just the greatest time ever. So you come in later, you come in like a month or two later, it's over. It's already over because you're gonna have rank 100 colonels or whatever, just with every weapon, every lock-on, every ability, and the amount of time under the belt to just destroy your face. And that's sad, and that's kind of why I wish these games wouldn't have unlocks anymore. I'm tired of unlocks. Me and my friends, we talk about this all the time. Dumb unlocks. We used to play, and speaking of Tom Clancy's, but Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, I remember we used to play, I mostly got them in around Raven Shield, and that game had so many weapons. You didn't have to unlock them. Maybe there was over 20 weapons. They were just there. You join a game, what do I want to use? I got this assortment of pistols, I've got rifles, sniper rifles, carbines, whatever. It was there. You could load up the different ammunition, you could put scopes. You know, it was kind of basic back then, but everything was just unlocked. Everybody was even. If it came down to anything, at the end of the day, it was just skill. It wasn't about so-and-so having the flavor of the month weapon, you know. So, that's that. But let's face it, the unlock mechanics, I think a lot of people fool themselves into thinking that that's what they want. They want to feel that grind. They want to achieve something. It's just like achievements in the game. Achievements are fake. They don't give you anything. You don't get money for achievements. It's just a little badge that sits there on your battle log. Like, who cares? I don't care. I don't care if you have achievements. It's not anything that you can use to succeed in life. It's just a thing that says you did something. Good job, I guess. So, I don't care about achievements. I don't care about unlocks. Just imagine if you could get Battlefield 4 and everything was just already unlocked and everybody was even. And then it was just, alright, who's got the skill, who's got the tactics and the knowledge, and who's spent the time on the map. But that's just my opinion, you know. Some may disagree. That's why MMOs are addicting, because you're unlocking stuff, you're progressing, you're leveling up. A lot of people love it. But a lot of us, we would just be fine with having an end game that's amazing. If you could just automatically be at that level and you're just experiencing fantastic content. And that's why MMOs have problems, because a lot of them cannot create a good end game. They've based their entire game around the thrill of unlocking stuff and acquiring loot. And people become addicted to that stuff. But, I don't know. I think it's all psychological, and a lot of human beings need to really take a look at themselves and think, wow, why do I like this? So, anyway, opinions, right? We all have them. Moving right along. Discussing Battlefield and whatnot. You're probably still saying, and I bring this up every time, why Battlefield? Why not Arma 3? That game pretty much has everything that you're looking for. Well, because Arma 3 might as well change its name to Wasteland. That's why. You get in the server browser, Wasteland, Wasteland, Wasteland. Sumatra's Wasteland. So-and-so's Wasteland. Bob's Wasteland. Like, how many versions of Wasteland? It's bad enough that every server is Wasteland, or some other mod, but that there's like 3 or 4 versions of Wasteland. We can't even agree. There's infighting amongst modders now. It's like, no, my mod's the best. No, I'm going to take from your mod and put this into it because I don't agree with what you've done with your mod, so I'm going to go do that. It's like, holy smokes, and all of a sudden, when did everybody learn how to mod? I mean, back in the day playing Quake, you know, there's like a mod here and there, and you'd play Team Fortress. Okay, there was like 2 versions of Team Fortress, because there was Team Fortress, which is the real one, and then there was a Mega Team Fortress, which came out way later. But generally you had those 2, and everybody mostly played the original TF. But there wasn't like 6 versions of TF, you know. Everybody knew where to go to get the version of the mod they wanted. But now with Arma, it's over-modded. It's modded to the point where you can't even play the regular game. And if you do manage to find a server running the regular game, it's somebody running a box out of their closet on a horrible internet connection. So it's like, I don't know, maybe there needs to be a little bit more control when it comes to the game. I love that the game is moddable. I love that it's a true PC title, but boy, oh boy, I don't know. I don't know if it's going in the right direction. I think the community is actually in some ways hurting the game. Now let's face it, you can blame DayZ for some of this because it got so popular that it sold so many copies of Arma 2, and then when people got bored with DayZ, they discovered what else Arma 2 had to offer in the other mods. So then they started playing all these other mods. They discovered Wasteland in Arma 2, and then they brought it back to Arma 3, but now they're saying, well, screw Arma, you know, I don't want to play that, I just want to play all these mods. So now the game is just a gigantic mod platform. And I don't know if that's good or bad, because it's like, I just kind of want to play regular Arma. I just want 2 teams, like in Battlefield, to be going against each other for objectives. At the end of the day, yeah, I'll admit it, I want Conquest mode with Arma 3 gameplay, or some other type of story-based objectives in the Arma 3 engine. But you can't really get that unless you're playing with a clan or a unit or whatever you want to call it. I just don't have time to deal with that, to hook up with a unit or clan. And you know, when you're in my position, you just end up getting these units that are going to let you in for the wrong reason, and so it's a difficult situation. Now, yes, I could try to run an Arma 3 server, but the problem with that is, of course, if I want to run a mode that's acceptable to me, I'm going to have to mod something or tweak something or change some sort of parameter in the server, and I don't have time to deal with that. I just want to, if I own a server, boom, use they're simple to use, easy UI to use the things that are built into the game and go. I love mods, but wow, do I think that the communities in some cases are just really going overboard with certain things. I think that in a way there needs to be an approval system. If you look at the Apple App Store, just an example, but when somebody submits a game, an app, whatever, it goes, Apple has to approve it. It has to be certified, whatever, that it works, that it's compliant, that there's no issues. I almost think that in some cases, mods or game companies should have that type of system. For example, imagine if EA and DICE allowed Frostbite to be moddable, just like Battlefield 2 used to be moddable. I would have loved to have seen Project Reality with Frostbite. Of course, now they're going to use CryEngine, which is a different story altogether. But they should have an approval system. Like when you rent a server from Battlefield, it has to go through one of their selected server hosts. They have a list of the only providers. Like you can't run a private BF server. It has to go through like GameServers.com or Hypernia or somebody like that, because they've sought them out and they say, okay, you meet our standards, only you can host the game. That's fine because it's a big list, and you know that makes sure that the servers are going to be dedicated, and you're not going to just be connecting to somebody who's hosting something on their Roadrunner internet. So I'm fine with that. I think mods in a way should kind of work like the Apple App Store. Like, look, you want to submit your mod, it has to go through an approval system. We check it out, make sure it works properly, and then we release it. You might be thinking no to that, but honestly, I think that Arma is a perfect example of how it can hurt a game. Because, like I said, now there's like 3 or 4 different versions of Wasteland. Nobody knows which is the right one. You join up and it's like, oh, this is not the version I wanted, and it's just a mess. And some of them are glitchy, beyond glitchy, and it's just unacceptable to me. But then again, I think my standards sometimes are just super epic, mega, through the roof, and I start to rant and rave about those types of things. But I don't know. I just see how other companies are doing things with software, and I love the modding community, but there's just some people that shouldn't be making mods. That's all I've got to say. It can go overboard in some cases. World of Tanks is an example of where there are some mods that exist that should not exist, because I find them borderline hacking, especially when you're talking about a skin that shows you all the weak spots on a tank. I think that that is the most cheap thing that could ever possibly exist, and I don't understand how people get away with that. I mean, you shouldn't allow the skinning of vehicles in that game, because you can cross the line with it to the point where it's cheating, and I don't know how they're gonna find out that you're using those things. The problem is, you allow skinning, you would have to make it so that if they detect a change in the files that you're banned. But you know, really, since they're allowing the other types of skins, that would have to affect everyone. So there's no way to separate the types of skins. So, and that's kind of going off topic. But anyway, yeah, I just think that there needs, I love modding, but I think there needs to be a little bit more control behind how these things are getting released, because otherwise Wasteland or all these other types of mods for Arma or other games are just going to override the main game that everybody paid for. And I don't know. What I want is just the regular gameplay with 2 teams fighting each other. Apparently that's too much to ask. So, you know, I'm still keeping my eye on Arma 3. You know, the game engine, it's capable of so much. I mean, I love what they've done with it. The main continent is gorgeous, but oh, I just feel like it's being wasted on Wasteland. So, there's that. What else we got? MechWarrior Online. I'm actually having a lot of fun with this title. And yes, I did rant and rave about quite a few things. I do still have many, many complaints about the game. Some of them will be addressed when we see UI 2.0, which is going to give us a full screen mech lab with many other features. So excited about that. It's going to allow me to make videos of the mech lab, whereas now I've just been kind of editing them out when I get to the mech lab, and you've mostly just been seeing content transition to combat. And you know, I really can't wait for that change and some of the other things that they have planned. I still feel that their maps could use a lot of work in regards to scale and detail. I definitely think they're not utilizing the engine. And as sad as it is, like, you see people bragging about, oh, we're using CryEngine 3, and it's like, you are? Because it sure doesn't look anything like CryEngine. Like, do the only people that know how to use CryEngine work for Crytek? I mean, if you look at Crysis 1, 2, and 3, even Crysis 1 looks insane even today. Crysis 1, which is using the original CryEngine, looks freaking sane. I mean, it still looks phenomenal. And, you know, they changed some things up when it comes to Crysis 2 and Crysis 3 and how that engine works. But they look beautiful as well. And I'm not seeing the detail. Like, the texturing in the Crysis games is just through the roof. The high resolution usage of textures. The detail in regards to foliage and shrubbery and grass, debris and smoke and particle effects and everything. It's just, you have this tool set at your hands, but it's just not being utilized, and it's such a shame because they do so much very well. I mean, the core gameplay mechanics of MechWarrior Online, outstanding. You know, just the combat, the shooting, the damage. You know, there's so much that's done very, very well. And I'm not going to turn this into a MechWarrior like rant and rave video, but, you know, because at the end of the day, I'm still playing it. I play it all the time. It's one of my most played titles, right next to War Thunder and World of Tanks. It's the triple threat right there. It's become one of those flagship titles that I like to cover. And a lot of people are in the comments like, wow, you know, SideStrafe, this is your kind of game. Like, you know, you seem to be picking it up pretty quickly and doing all right in it. You know, it's a game that allows me to put forth ground tactics. It allows me to use a lot of my tank tactics in similar ways. Now, of course, you're dealing with different weapon systems, but you can still use cover and flanking maneuvers and things like that, and you can aim for weaker spots, and so yeah, there's a lot of similarities to games like World of Tanks. So I'm really, really enjoying it. Core gameplay is good, but yeah, I think that they need to work on a lot. I mean, I know it's officially considered out of beta, but they've got a long ways to go. And you know, hopefully they're not gonna sit around and let this amazing game engine go to waste. But I know it takes time. I know they're a very, very, very small team of developers, and you know, it's not easy. Game development is a very, very difficult and stressful job. You know, it's something that I looked into getting into at some time, at one point, I should say. And yeah, it's not easy. It is not. So what they have managed to do is just incredible, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop complaining about certain things, because I want it to be better, and that's called passion. When you're really into something so much that you want to get the word out and say, look, they got to improve this. This has to be better. I really think that there's room for improvement or changes or additions to the gameplay or the models or the sounds, or, you know, that's why I'm never going to stop critiquing games. And I think that that's where people sometimes get me wrong. They look at things like, wow, he just tore that game apart. And I'm like, no, I didn't. I love the game, so I want it to improve, and here's where I think it can get better. But I'm going to go back to playing it because I'm still enjoying it. Yeah, so anyway, hopefully, you know, they'll improve some of those things. They've already discussed some of the things that they want to change and add, and I think over time, what we have now will just turn into, you know, hopefully just a more large-scale faction versus faction story-based battle versus just some arena deathmatch that it kind of is right now. So having a lot of fun with that. War Thunder, of course, another fantastic title that I'm enjoying. Playing that a lot with Ram JB. Hopefully we can get some more time in with him and Bismarck as well. So still learning. Big learning process with War Thunder. I think I've gotten a lot better. Even Ram's like, man, you've accelerated beyond many people out there that just still can't pick the game. I'm like, really? I don't know. I still feel terrible, but you know, he sees me fly, so I guess I'll take his word for it. I still make mistakes, granted, but I'm having a lot of fun sharing it. And you can definitely count on me for War Thunder Ground Forces. This is going to be your #1 channel for War Thunder Ground Forces. That's just the way it is. I'm putting my foot down, guys. You want quality tank combat in War Thunder? As long as the game does it right, then this is going to be a channel to keep your eye on. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. I'm sure there's plenty of other channels that are going to take a look at it, but no. Nah, bro. Nah, my little bro. It's over. Maybe not for the planes. Granted, I'll send you out elsewhere when it comes to flight combat, but yeah, when we're talking about tanks, that's my domain. And so, yeah, anyway, I'm just teasing, but no, seriously, I'm not teasing. I'm not. I thought that I was going to tease you about that, but I'm serious. Don't go anywhere else for War Thunder Ground Forces. Just here. And I know. I'll know if you're cheating on me with other channels. I'll know if you're watching other people's content. I'll know. So, you better watch yourself. But anyway, yeah, that World of Tanks, still playing some of that as well. I know a lot of you prefer arcadey combat, and you might think, well, SideStrafe, you love World of Tanks, and it's arcadey. So, you know, what's the deal here? And the thing is, really, well, I love World of Tanks because it's the only choice I have when it comes to, like, a tank game, really. If I don't count some sort of hardcore simulation that just has terrible multiplayer or something. But that's I mean, we played World of Tanks because there was just nothing else to play. Not because it's the best at being a tank sim. No, and I don't even really expect War Thunder to be a sim. But I expect it to be a little bit more realistic than what we have. And I have a lot of complaints when it comes to World of Tanks that I think can be resolved with a historical mode that's found in War Thunder. So yeah, that's why I am looking forward to that title. But am I still enjoying World of Tanks as arcadey as it is? Sure I am. I love the game. I've invested a lot of time and money into it. It's a fantastic title. There's no doubt about that. I don't like how they treat North America. I don't like how they do business. There's a lot of things there, and I don't like how they just rebalance things every day of the week and not fix the things that really demand attention. But it's still a fantastic title. I have a lot of fun with it, and you know, I don't mind covering it. It's just that, you know, if there is something that just manages to blow it away, well, you know, what am I going to do? We'll see. I don't know. Gaijin, the developer of War Thunder, they have a history of making flight sims, not ground sims. So they might fail at this. I don't know. I mean, we got to see how the physics are. We have to see how the movement, the animations of the tanks, the actual control, you know, the shooting. I mean, there's so many little elements here. Now, I almost think it's probably more difficult to balance some of the flight combat characteristics of all the individual planes, but when it comes to tanks, you never know. They have to deal with armor thicknesses and things like that a little bit more, and it could be interesting to see what they come up with, but I'm indeed excited. So, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I think that about covers everything that I really wanted to talk about today. Please stay tuned for all the footage we've got. Lots of exciting times ahead. Plenty of titles to look at, some new stuff, and we're starting to finally nail down my flagship games. I think between World of Tanks, War Thunder, MechWarrior Online, Battlefield 4, we have at least 4 games that I'm going to stay steady with for quite some time. You know, there's of course, look, I still need to fit in somehow some sort of survival horror game. I am enjoying, actually, State of Decay. I think it's actually one of the best ones that's come out in some time, so maybe I'll look a little bit more at that. But I don't know that I would flagship it just yet, but otherwise, I still kind of want to fit some sort of survival horror title in there as a flagship title, because I enjoy them, you know. It's not that there's... Yes, there are too many zombie survival games out there, but there's not enough good ones. Case closed. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining me. Don't forget to check out Facebook, Twitter, Google+, links in the description below. I will see you on the next one.